everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Let me share my screen real quick and we will get going. We will be talking about custom password change validation functionality. One of our clients needed this kind of functionality, and since it turned out to be a little bit more code than we originally expected, we decided to make a bit of a tutorial based on this. So there will be a few techniques that we want to use. So the main difference between the built-in change password functionality is that we do not want to have a separate page for that. We have a users table, login table, or in our case, it will be customers table. And we just want to implement this functionality on the same page where customers edit their own information. So let me show you how it looks in a web browser, and you will understand what kind of challenge we are having here. So we use passwords that are hashed in the database. We use BCRYPT. So that's our customers table. There is a simple project with just one table in it, and all the functionality will be happening on the edit page. So we have fields like old password, new password 1, and new password 2. I will change labels to something that is slightly more appropriate, and I will remove other fields maybe, but it doesn't matter. So what I'm trying to do here, so users can modify their own information on this page, and if they want to, they can also change their password. So we want them to enter their old password, and we want to enter the new password twice. And the functionality we're looking for, we need to make sure that old password matches what is stored in the database, even though in the database it is in an encrypted form, in a hashed form. We want to make sure that new passwords match. We want to make sure that new passwords are complex enough. So we will apply some validation rules. We will be using that built-in functionality that PHP provides, but again, since this is an edit page, we will have to use it manually. And so these are our rules, password rules, at least 8 characters long, at least 4 unique characters, at least 2 digits or symbols. And both passwords need to match. So let me show you how we doing all of this. And you can see that we will be enabling and disabling save button. So we just want to perform as much validation as possible on the client side in JavaScript without sending all that info to the server. So only if all 3 fields are populated, new passwords match, and complex enough, then we will be submitting that form. So save button needs to be enabled only when we entered some sort of old password, and new password is complex enough, and if it matches new password, then save button will be enabled. And if we submit it now, it will say old password doesn't match. So that's because old password, by the way, I don't remember what my password is because I was changing into something that is random. I don't remember that. So we will have to probably reset our password. So you can see that password field is not on this edit form, as we have no use for it. I don't want to show that hash anywhere, I mean, because it's useless. So how I do this? First step, these three fields are virtual fields that I have added to the SQL query. So if we take a look at our SQL query, you can see that all three fields are virtual fields that do not exist in the database. So, but they can appear on any page. Probably makes more sense if you only display them on the edit page, because otherwise it will be empty. So if we take a look at this, I can remove it from all pages first. And then I want to make sure that these three fields appear on the edit page. This makes sense. And then let me show you some of the code, and we will start digging into how everything is implemented. So on the events screen, you can see that some events are populated. So what we do here on the server side, after we validate passwords on the client side, we submit our form, and we use password verify function that is a part of PHP Runner and ASP.NET framework. And we just pass old password as it was entered in the form and compare it with old values that came from the database. So the beauty of this function is that it will work no matter what kind of password, even if we store it in a plain text in the database, the function will still work. So it's just a little bit more. Let me show you. So we use password hashing here, bcrypt. Even if we use MD5 or don't use password hashing at all, this function will still work, no changes in the code. So that's the beauty of it. So we going to use this function, even though it is not, I don't think it's documented anywhere in the manual. We just didn't have a use case. So maybe now we will document it. So because it's useful. And there is another function, get password hash. So if password did not match, we display a message on the page. You saw that. And we return false, meaning do not proceed with updating the record. And then a new value of password field is going to be, since again it's hashed, it's going to be get password hash. It will create a hash using bcrypt or MD5, depending on what was selected on the security screen. And since these fields are virtual, if we do not unset them, it will break our SQL query because these fields do not exist. We need to unset, meaning we need to remove them from values array because values array is what we use to build the SQL query that updates. So this code is fairly straightforward. And I will add a couple of comments just in case, remove. This part is very straightforward. So what a couple of things that we use here, these are related to the fact that we want to use a built-in function that performs password validation, built-in function that is built-in PHP Runner. And for this function to work, we need to get these values as a minimum password length, which is 8, number of unique characters, which is 4, number of digits. By the way, I didn't see upper and lower rule being applied because I have entered everything in lowercase and it still worked. So we may want to check on that. But the idea is we are looking in project settings. So this code is specific for version 11. In version 10.91, the code is slightly different. And if you need it for version 10.91, feel free to contact me and I'll share the code, but I just wanted to do it for version 11 here in this tutorial. So this is a part of where we get in those settings from project settings and passing them to JavaScript. That's the first step. Second step, there is a global settings array where we store these values. Again, this code and this code are specific to this functionality because the function that we will be using, it's a part of validation in PHP runner. Function name is check strong password. And for this function, in order to work, we need to populate those variables. So these variables need to be available in JavaScript. And by default, they would be available on change password screen. But since we're doing this on an edit page, we do that. So another option would have been to, instead of relying on this function as is, we could have copied this function's code somewhere, edited to this same custom functions.js file, and just use it here. Maybe we should have renamed it, but in this example, we just wanted to use slightly less code, so we are using this. Let me add some comments here. We want to use built-in runner validation check strong password function to validate the password. Okay, so this is what I want to do here. So there are like multiple different options of doing this, but I decided so we can do it this way. Another option would have been, again, using these functions source code, paste it here, change function name maybe, and then just use it. If that was the case, we wouldn't need this part of the code, and we wouldn't not need this part of the code. So yeah, I couldn't decide what is better. Okay.